This story is so rich with those little visuals that help to build a movie.
The camera department has spent already months going over every individual shot to ensure that everything has a purpose, has a meaning, to ensure that every second of this film is going to be interesting, suspenseful, meaningful, and action-packed.
We had one rule when designing the shot list, and that was to be able to say, all right, this shot is telling the audience this shot is telling the audience that. Every shot had to have a purpose. It had to either lead or mislead the audience. And because of all the time that we spent on the shot list,
The smell.
you know, I love my dialogue. I'm a big fan of my dialogue, but we really could play this film out as a silent movie and not lose the story half a beat.
It smelled like shit took a dump. And crying. There was crying. He was standing there crying above me. He was crying all Durka Durka, and that camel jockey held the knife up to the light.
You must be mistaken, Mr. Schmidt.
What?
That was no Iraqi standing over you, Mr.
Then
Schmidt.
who cut me, Doc? Who put me in this fucking chair? Huh? Nobody killed anyone in Iraq except for Americans? I didn't sign up for the Corps on Wheels.
I will not allow you to invent your own personal propaganda in order to hide.
Because you want your propaganda. Don't think I don't recognize that flag behind you, huh? Saddam's flag? You fuck.
That is a postcard, Mr. Schmidt.
And you are a fucking racist. You love
How we
that
approach a
movie.
story from a visual standpoint. A good script to me is that when I read it, my imagination is on fire, and I see the camera setups, and I see ways to frame things, and I see where the camera would move to tell the story. And the script just has that. It's got those little details.
The camera is a huge part of the storytelling, with the angles the way they are.
We're definitely going for a distinct visual style, where the camera leads you through each scene, and there's definitely a relationship through the camera.
Now, we shot some test scenes from the first act where we follow our main character, Tom.
Scene one of the movie where you get introduced to the main characters for Simon, the main character, is really interesting because Tom, he seems kind of like he's very uneasy.
We're not really sure about our main character. Who is he? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? You root for him, and then you start thinking, well, should I be rooting for this guy?
He's in a wheelchair, and he doesn't seem like he has a lot of energy to him. He seems kind of beaten down.
He's confused, out of place, and maybe a little under the influence.
It's fine. I mean, I'm in no hurry to go back to the desert. But I gotta be honest with you, man. I'm not the woe is me type. All right? I mean, we were trained for bigger stuff than this.
So, you know, with this story, not everything is as it seems, which allows us to use the camera to intrigue the audience, to play with them, surprise them.
It's going to be a slightly out of whack in terms of Tom's viewpoint as well. I mean, he's looking at this thing like it would be out of whack for any of us.
That, you know, when he gets more in a situation where he feels more comfortable, one of a conflict or chaos or something, instead of this sterile, white, dusted environment, then you get to see the real Tom, and it's kind of a surprise to see just who Tom really is.
This is what I mean. You guys should assume everyone is crazy.
Everything is out of sync and strange for Tom, and he thinks that's just being in the hospital. But it's when he discovers himself is when everything comes into focus for him and for the audience. And that realization is horrifying. And that's how we end Act 1.
So there's a lot of interesting little nuances to this story. For example, we have the relationship between Dr. Nasir and Tom. So Tom is a war veteran, he's coming back from the Middle East. Nasir is an Iraqi doctor. So obviously there's this racial tension between the two of these guys right off the bat.
Oh, so you have to choose one of the doctors?
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt.
Dr. Nasir's scenes with Tom, we start out, they're kind of working together. You see two shots.
The doctors as much as their patients. This is a good thing. Now we can make some progress. Now, please, let us begin.
As their relationship kind of deteriorates and breaks down, you start to see them a little more isolated.
It was.
And I think that's a good way of actually telling the story. You really feel it through the camera.
Maybe it was a Halliburton Merc, or maybe it was Santa Claus.
So we echoed the relationship in the camera work. In the first few scenes, you'll see that we have dolly moves that have both Tom and Dr. Nassir in them. And then as the scenes progress, as the tension between these two guys build, we see that they just can't make it work. It's not going anywhere. So you'll notice that we just cut to close-ups, and these two are never seen together again. Obviously they're in the same room, but we don't frame them together. So it's these little things in the camera work that just help to tell the story a little bit better and hopefully get the audience more involved.
See, what we're looking for in this picture is to tell the story we want in an emotionally based approach through lenses, lighting, composition, performance, and movement. That's good filmmaking, and that's what we're trying to make here.
This is what independent filmmaking is. It's visceral, it's direct, it's something that when you watch it, you just think, wow, I only thought people with millions of dollars could do something like this. But that's not how it goes. It's people like me, people like Russ, people like John Galvin and Al Signore, and we're just here to change cinema, and you can be part of that. We just need your help.